Okay, I want to talk today about the only guaranteed way that a progressive candidate could win the White House in 2020. I argue this is the only way, the only guaranteed way that it could happen. And first off, I want to talk about the ways that I think will not work. I do not think that in 4 years there will be a progressive third party that could win the White House. I just don't see that happening. And there's no strong progressive third party in America right now. I mean, strong nationally. There are probably parties that are doing good work on individual issues, but nationally, use the Green Party as my ultimate example. I don't really see the change or the improvement of the Green Party's ability to be a factor nationally since 2000 to 2016. That's 16 years, almost 20 years. I don't see a real change there. Um, and the only way there can be change with a Green Party or any potential third party in the future is the way that I'll explain soon about what the only way that you can actually get a real progressive into the White House. Also, I don't know if the Democratic Party can be changed into this far left or progressive, mostly progressive party in 4 years. I think the Democratic Party has moved. I'm talking organically through channels, um, through the normal channels within the party. I think it's still going to be essentially the same party that it is today, uh, with few changes that it in 2020 as it is right now. I think in 2020, left up to his own devices, he'll probably have a candidate similar to Hillary Clinton. Um, so which way do I think is the way forward? I use the example of Barack Obama, Bernie Sanders, and Donald Trump as the way forward in the future. I think it's going to take an exceptional public personality, someone who gathers the public's imagination. But for this person to be progressive, they have to have really strong progressive credentials. Their whole platform has to be at least similar to the platform Bernie Sanders has or had. But it has to be someone that the public is really excited about. It has to be someone when this person speaks on TV, no matter where you are in the political spectrum, you are going to watch this, hear what this person has to say. Um, People will tune in, and that's important because this person is going to have to make their own news. One of the things that are really problematic for progressives, and this is despite the claims of people on the far right that the lamestream media or the left wing media, that's probably a valid critique from them because the media probably is to the left of their position, so it does seem uh, leftist and from their perspective. But from a perspective of progressive, you're very frustrated because a lot of the progressive views that you believe in are not given weight in the media, in CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, all the major media outlets. You don't really see the things that you truly believe in as presented as good for the future of the country. So this person, any progressive candidate, just based on their issues alone, are not going to get press. They had to get press because the press sees ratings. They see someone that can actually get people to view, kind of like Trump. Um, I watched all the Republican debates, even though I'm totally not a Republican voter, because I was interested in the debates to see what Trump would do, what he would say. I didn't watch any of his speeches, but on interviews and debates, I tuned in. I wanted to hear what this guy had to say. Uh, and I'm not a potential voter of his at all. I think you're going to have to see a similar type of thing happening for a progressive candidate. The person's going to have to be polished. The person's going to have to be exciting. People are going to be interested in hearing what that person has to say. And they'll get airtime if people tune in, because one of the things that these networks understand is dollars. So this person is going to have to be able to gain their own publicity, not based on the issues, but based on themselves as an individual. Now, the thing about this is that this will allow the person to build up a base of support. Because, one of the criticisms I have of American politics is a lot of things are personality driven, it's not issues driven. Now, I'm an issue first person. I'll follow a line if it makes sense. If it stands up to scrutiny based on the sources that I will read and appreciate and respect, and also my own sense of what is right and wrong as far as the issues go. So I don't really care about an attractive personality. I don't. I mean, it's not something of interest to me. But in life, in general, people follow people based on their ability to kind of connect on this kind of base level of being someone that they like and someone that they will want to actually speak with or have conversations with. People are not don't really judge people on pure substance. I mean, in a way, substance is something you have to dig down to find. It's not normally something that's close to the surface that you can easily absorb. Someone being attractive and being fun, you can kind of get the sense of that very easily, and that's what people are attracted to. So you need political leaders. Unfortunately, if they're going to gain some traction, they have to be someone that that will attract people outside their normal base. People outside their normal base is going to have to be interested in this person and hearing what they have to say, so that they can get their message out there. And it helps if that person is like an attractive individual. Now, another thing that's good about this is in the same way that Bernie and Trump were able to gain traction despite the reluctance of the establishments in their own individual parties, the Democratic Party for Bernie or the Republican Party for Trump, because of the individual audience, especially in the progressive side where they don't have really strong progressive candidates, is actually able to drum up support. And Bernie's kind of an outlier because he didn't really have a lot of personal charisma, but because his message was so strong, progressive really gathered around him. But I think because he did not have that real charisma, a lot of standard Democratic voters just weren't with Bernie at all. They were like, "Hey, let's go for Hillary. We know Hillary. We respect Hillary. We think it's her time." And I think most likely Democratic voters were really comfortable with that decision. And I think that people on the left have to really just have to accept that people wanted Hillary over Bernie. I mean, she has millions more votes than he did. They have to accept that. I mean, yeah, you wanted Bernie based on the issues, but people base their vote more than just the issues. You don't just line up the issues and go have a checklist. Most people don't do that. They just look at the candidate and they decide based on their whole gut feeling. And most of the Democratic voters, their gut feeling was Hillary as opposed to Bernie. So the one thing is, if this potential future um, charismatic progressive candidate, he can kind of hit both ends. He can have those progressive platform, which would get those progressive voters on board. But having that attractive personality and running under the Democratic banner, he can attract some of those Democratic likely voters, which I think happened in 2008 with Barack Obama over Hillary. Hillary was the establishment person. A lot of people were gathering around her in support, but Barack Obama was able to snatch that early consensus for Hillary away from her and win the Democratic nomination. He didn't have those strong progressive credentials, though, but he had that extra charisma over Hillary. I think that can be a blueprint in the future for a progressive candidate. Um, so there's a lot of lessons to be learned here from Obama, from Bernie, and from Trump that a progressive candidate can use in the future. And it can do this despite even reluctance of the Democratic Party establishment. Um, Bernie showed that even without the establishment support, you can raise money. He showed that. I think there's so many different examples. And then when this person is the leader of the party, if they win the nomination, the Democratic nomination, they're able to beat whatever the Republican candidate they put up there, most likely Trump. If they're able to beat them, then he's the head of the Democratic Party, and the leadership has to fall in line at that point. So this is how you'll get that left wing, progressive, Democratic Party that you want and hope for. This is the only way I can see it happening.